the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.
So we can jump right in. We can be going. Like, this is it. This is it.
We're happening?
We're happening.
The show's already going?
Happening right now.
Okay.
Yes.
So 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Okay.
We were hit with
Yes.
a monumental environmental
Disaster.
in Los Angeles. A huracán.
No. It was a hurricane.
Actually, it was a tropical storm. Didn't quite meet hurricane standards.
Yes, I would say.
It walked up with his paperwork to the hurricane office, and it's like we're looking at about 10 to 30 miles an hour.
Yes.
Maybe 4 inches of rain for the day. And the hurricane office looked at it and said, I'm sorry, Hill. You're a sweetheart, and I think that you mean well, but you are no longer a hurricane.
Yeah.
You were before, but now you're just tropical storm.
You're a tropical storm, if that.
And then they gave her the paperwork, and she was like, "Well, this is disappointing, but I accept your decision,
and I'll keep moving.
and I'll just keep on keeping on." And then Hilary went on. Yeah.
And did diddly squat to
Squat.
most
To
of us here.
Anybody we were talking to.
Yes.
Now,
Look,
we did find out
the
from
Dodger
Veronica
Stadium
that
was
apparently
flooded.
downtown got hit a little harder, right?
yeah,
and
yeah.
then I guess Vegas, it was flat enough that it just kind of filled up the thing. And Palm, how are John and Cassie?
They said it wasn't bad?
No,
They said it wasn't
God,
bad?
I heard in Palm Springs it was terrible, but they're like, no. See, okay,
So that's boots on the ground, folks. And they said, not bad. Rains, some winds, but not bad.
I think that a lot of times the news really wants to make sure they get a story, so they'll find the thing that was worst. I did see a cool video of somebody riding a trash can down Cahuenga, so there was some water there. That's
you got to
cool.
always admire those videos that come out after major storms, like the people with like American flags on boats in the streets on water. I'm always like, I recommend you because you're still getting the quality content in the middle of a crisis.
Yes.
You're like, I will not stop. I'm gonna get the video.
Yes. Yeah, you got to get it.
Got to get that video.
Yeah, no, but
But we didn't get anything.
As you and I look at the devastation in the hills,
It's devastating. The most devastating devastation.
is it? It seems like there weren't a lot of problems, thankfully, for it. We got through it okay.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to let everybody know, because we forgot to mention it last week, a week ago, when we were doing our podcast, 1 whole week ago, not a few minutes ago.
We were very focused on the subject at hand, which was glue. And I upset you with my glue puns, and you walked off the show. And then I negotiated 3 times a lady. I negotiated with you to come back in return, and we finished the show. We finished strong. And we sang 6 songs before the show began. So it was a very busy and exciting episode.
A lot was happening.
So it was hard for us to dig into Hurricane and all the trauma that we'd been through.
But we were too happy to talk about the pain and disaster.
Yeah. But the thing I'd like to say is I really like these phone alerts to dial it back just a little bit when you're in the middle of a storm and not go off on my phone at 4 a.m. saying danger when nothing's happened.
Yeah, when I get a notification at 4 a.m. that says stay indoors.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm indoors.
Oh, so you're going to wake me up
to tell me to stay
to
indoors?
make me potentially go outdoors because now I'm awake instead of just being comfortably in my bed indoors at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
This is a smart move.
Yeah. And I mean, look, notification service, the bars close at 2. Yeah. So even the drunks and the young folks are in bed by this time or busy otherwise, but they're indoors.
They're indoors probably, and if they're drunk enough, I'm sure they'll be fine.
They'll be fine.
They won't feel a thing.
No, exactly. They're the ones getting the video out in the streets.
Somebody's got to get that video, and I just don't appreciate that the National Weather Service is stopping them from doing it.
Agreed.
Yep.
All right, so
I just thought we should bring it up.
Good point.
Happy Nuggets.
Happy Nuggets. This is the Summer Nugget. So we're gonna dig in because that's what we got. We did a little dilly dally. We talked a little bit about the hurricane. We're gonna jump in.
So we're just gonna jump in. No more waiting.
No more waiting.
No more dilly dally.
No more.
No more talk about other things.
We're gonna be as dramatic and hit as strong as that hurricane did.
Okay, dramatic.
Today we're gonna talk about a subject that we talked about in the very beginning.
In the beginning of it all? Straws?
Yeah.
What?
200 years ago. When this show began and straws were at the height of their popularity.
Can I even remember that far back?
I know. Like you say, top quality content. Here's the thing. When this show began,
1823.
When this show began, everybody was using nothing but plastic straws, right? It was like
Lord knows I was.
You were, I was, everybody. It was like we were having straw parties, plastic straw parties. And so
I used to build houses with him. And then the wolf would come up and he would blow it down.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was so embarrassing.
So embarrassing.
And then I had my cool, industrious brother who built a house out of brick. And his didn't get blown down. My straw one blown down. His not blown. I was the one. Right. He was a straw house.
And your straw house became one that was used in a cafe.
Yes.
For the big bad wolf.
Yes.
But you all know that since the very first episode we talked about.
That was before I went to market. I was one of the piggies that was sitting on the end of a toe, and then this little piggy went. Mm-hmm. I was the one who went way up into the tickled in my armpit and my neck, and I get really tickly because I'm really ticklish.
Yeah, you are.
I used to love that game.
So this episode, the reason why we're coming full circle back on straws, is you know that after we changed the world in that episode, which was we said, okay, you got a couple options here. You can give up the straws, give them up entirely,
stop using them,
or you can start using these paper straws because if you got some disabilities or some requirements, or you're traveling, and you're on the move, you got a cup with a lid on it. You could use the ones that are reusable, or you could use the paper one. And everybody said, the world around said these paper straws drive me insane because they get soggy. And you and I both, we would go to a place to eat and they'd have a paper straw and we'd be like, here we are, the Biofriendly boys, the Biofriendly Podcast boys, and I don't want to use this dadgum paper straw because it's just melting in my bev. Right. And I don't like it.
Yes, I didn't like it either.
No.
So I just didn't use any straws.
Exactly.
I abandoned the straws.
Yeah, you abandon them. And so for some of you are like, well, I can't abandon a straw. I got to have the straw. Or you go to a place and they put the paper thing in your glass. You're like, what am I supposed to do? This is ruining my life.
Now I've got paper in my drink.
Exactly. Well, scientists have been hard at work since we aired that podcast 200 years ago. They have spent nothing but the past 2 millennia.
100 years.
Yes.
You said 2,000 years, but that's fine.
2 centuries.
That was an exaggeration. Sometimes he exaggerates because of how long it's been. It's been so long. It did not take them 2,000 years. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that they would work on it for 2,000 years. They only worked on it for 200 years,
yes,
which is not ridiculous.
I don't know why I said millennia. It's centuries.
Just let it be known that 200 years is definitely reasonable.
Definitely reasonable.
It's not a ridiculous statement.
Researchers develop 100% biodegradable paper straws that do not become soggy.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
That's impossible.
It is possible.
It can't be done.
200 years, man.
What?
Not 2,000 years.
They came up with it?
Yes.
They did it?
The paper straws that are currently available are not entirely made of paper alone. Okay, the ones that we've been using up until this point. Straws made with 100% paper become too soggy, right? We all know this pain. It says when they come in contact with liquids and cannot function as straws. The most commonly used coating materials for paper straws are polyethylene, which is PE, not gym class at school, polyethylene, or acrylic resin. The same materials used for making plastic bags and adhesives. Paper cups are also coated with the same materials as paper straws. So a large number of previous studies have reported that polyethylene coating on discarded paper cups can disintegrate into small particles without being fully decomposed and become microplastics. So here's the problem. For all these years they've been making the paper cups and the paper straws. They've been coating them in these plastics. So it's not only becoming soggy and a waste of your time, it's still getting in the freaking water. It's still getting into waste because it still has a little bit of a plastic lining. And that's when scientists were like, no more.
No more.
No more.
Okay.
So they developed something. They figured out a loophole. So in the 200-year study, though, they were trying other things.
Okay.
They were trying other things when they were sorting things out. They were saying polylactic acid, PLA straws, and rice straws are available in the market as alternative to paper straws.
Sure.
PLA straws, also known as corn plastic straws, do not decompose well in the ocean. While rice straws decompose well in the environment, they do. They have disadvantages, including higher prices due to difficulties in their mass production and their sharp cross sections. So your rice straw could be like slicing into your tongue.
Wow.
Yeah, too sharp for the straw.
Really?
Yeah.
What are people doing with their straws?
Huh? Aggressively drinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're getting after it.
They're getting after it.
Like I got this right straw and I'm going to suck so hard.
Yeah.
That I am going to tear my mouth in two. you.
Yeah, because you've seen a 6-year-old who's very thirsty come in from being outside in a 100-degree day, and you hand him a cup of water and he gulps it down. What do you think happens when that 6-year-old comes in and there's a straw in that cup? They go, and then they slice their tongue off.
Yeah.
And
how many 6-year-olds have died since the creation of this straw? Dozens, right?
So many rice straw accidents.
More than in the Hurricane Hilary.
More than Hurricane Hilary. Wow. Exactly.
That's insane.
So this research team.
I can't believe they even allowed the rice straws to be made now that I've learned this.
It's a disaster. Disaster.
What are we just?
Ricegate.
This is rice. Are we just trying to kill people?
Yeah.
Is that what this is? Mm-hmm. It's murder time?
Mm-hmm. Murder time. Murder time. That's actually the slogan.
Rice straws. Murder time.
That's the company slogan of rice straws. Rice straws.
It's murder time.
It's murder time. Okay, so these scientists using their technology. I'm going to read the team of the scientists.
Dr. Tom's rice straws. Yeah. It's murder time.
It's murder time. That was a bad catchphrase. So this group of scientists, they have, using their technology, the research team synthesized a well-known biodegradable plastic. Okay, I'm going to try to read this word.
Good.
Polybutylene succinate. I don't know. What do you think? Succinate? Polybutylene succinate?
Yeah. I think you're right with the succinate.
Yeah, succinate. Yeah. Okay, polybutylene succinate.
But I don't know, man.
Yeah, PBS, like the network, is what they abbreviated. By adding a small amount of cellulose nanocrystals to create a coating material. The added cellulose nanocrystals are the same material as the main component of paper.
Okay.
So they basically found a way to form the paper into these cellulose micro nanocrystals, and that's what lines the paper. No longer the plastic. And it's working. It's making it stronger. It's more durable.
Okay.
They have done these tests. It says conventional paper straws do not incorporate a material that will strongly attach the plastic coating to the surface of the straws. Therefore, the surface of the straws are not uniformly coated with plastic, impeding their use. The most significant limitations this creates are that the straws become soggy when liquid touches the uncoated part, and bubbles extensively form when the paper straws are left in carbonated beverages. So the reason why they're breaking down is they just don't uniformly cover this thing, and it just falls. So they even have a picture. I'm going to show it at the front right there. It says conventional paper straw. Here, I'll put it up here. Conventional paper straw. They have a weight of 25 grams, and they put on the end of a paper straw. It says, 60 seconds, it's bent completely.
Yeah. Why are they putting them in heroin spoons?
I don't know.
Yeah.
This is oh no. This has been funded by murder straws.
Oh my God! Big Murder's in on this?
Big Murder.
How can we have been so fooled?
Big Murder is added again. So they've got
we thought we had gone around the corporatocracy.
They're always behind everything. Big Murder. So they, as you can see in this picture, the eco-friendly paper straw was able to withstand twice as much weight, 50 grams, for 60 seconds with almost not bending at all. So they've had it's able to be more durable, and then they're also able to prevent it from being soggy. And then they also have this chart right here, which shows
right here, folks,
the plastic straw, which doesn't change at all.
No.
The conventional paper straw, you can see it breaks down, but it doesn't. It kind of gets to like a weird, looks like earwax kind of thing.
It does.
Then it says the PLA straw stays completely the same, but again, we talked about the expensiveness, or it's cutting your mouth open because it says murder.
Yeah.
And then the last one, eco-friendly paper straw, in 120 days, completely disappeared.
It's gone.
Gone. History.
We don't know where it is.
It, like Yoda, just goes, just disappears.
Wow. Does it also come back in ghost form sometimes?
Yeah.
I'm still a straw.
Yeah.
Try to drink from me. I'm a ghost.
So that is what has been accomplished, and I thought it was pretty great. So this was a story, again, that when I saw it, I was like, this isn't a story that you could spend a whole hour on, but it's enough, circling back after 200 years, not 2,000 years, that scientists heard that first Biofriendly podcast. They heard it. They heard our cry, and they said, these people want a straw that isn't soggy. They can skip the straw, but they also want the option in case somebody throws a straw in their bev, and they want it to be tasty. I don't know why I'm suddenly sound like a surfer.
Bev.
And so they wanted to find a solution, and they did.
First of all,
Yes.
I am enthused.
Good. I'm glad you are.
I'm enthused that they have come up with this solution so that people can still use straws
Yes.
when necessary.
When it's necessary.
Some people have
Some people have needs.
real lip problem.
Yeah.
And they need to have a straw to handle.
There are people who need straws.
In a chocolate shake, you just can't drink it without it.
Can't drink it. There's certain things. Look, when you're on a road trip and you're trying to not spill all over yourself,
I don't want to spill all over myself.
Sometimes a straw is required.
I hate spilling all over myself.
Yes.
And I do it all the time because I have a drinking problem.
You are hopeless.
I have a drinking problem.
Hopeless.
Okay, so here's where my head's at.
Okay.
200 years ago when we did that podcast, the whole idea was, let's bring something that maybe is not that big of a deal. It's not, they found one in a turtle and that made a really big splash because that was such a visceral way to show what a problem it can be when you get these, our plastic is ending up inside animals. Crazy, right? Yeah. So that kind of started the thing. Yeah. But straws, it's not like straws are the major problem. And that was kind of our pitch for the show in the first place.
Yes.
We got this thing greenlit. I think that's probably not
Write it down.
Darn thing greenlit. It's like we're going to present things that maybe it's not even that it's that big of a deal. The idea is if you look at something as simple as this, that is kind of easy to solve by not using the straw in general.
Right.
That shows a change of mind. And so now you're changing your perspective and you're being better for the environment. And that's kind of what we've tried to do ever since as a theme of the show.
Absolutely.
Is to bring that thunder.
Yes.
We're offering that.
Yeah.
So the thing I'm finding, and it's not a good thing or bad thing, it's just an observation.
Yeah.
Is that in those 200 years, I feel like this was a lot of energy and effort to fix something that's great.
Right.
It's great that it's wonderful. Yeah. I just kind of find it funny that we now have working straws. Yeah. And that was solved. Right. And yet there's so many other things that mean more and matter more and are more important that we still ain't figured.
I'm going to let Dr. O. Dongyap defend himself.
Oh yeah, nice.
No, I'm going to let him defend himself.
Okay, I'm not attacking Dr. Ongiap.
Yeah.
I'm not attacking Dr. I'm just saying, how is it that we say they tune in on the big? Oh my God, the straw problem. Let's fix the straw problem, and they go. Now we're here. We got the straw problem handled, and there's 1,000 other problems. People are like, no, it's too big. No.
No.
All right, what's
Dr. O. Dongyap says?
Oh, Dongyap.
Dr. O.
Dr. O.
Dongyap. So his first name is O, last name is Dongyap.
Dr. O. Dongyap. Dr. Dongyap.
Yes, Dr. Dongyap. Quote from him: "This technology is but a small step toward the direction."
Small step. Huh? Yeah, I agree. I'm with him.
This technology.
I'm his hype man.
Okay. Yeah. This technology is but a small step toward the direction we need to take in this era of plastic. Turning a plastic straw we often use into a paper straw will not immediately impact our environment.
It will not.
But the difference will be profound over time. If we gradually change from using convenient disposable plastic products to various eco-friendly products,
preach,
our future environment will be much safer than what we now worry about.
Much safer.
So he's saying, if the entire system
is now coated with my stuff,
is no longer we're using plastic for things that people need quickly, and then they throw them away, but the entire system changes, then going forward, that won't even be an issue anymore because we solved it. We have all the things, because you have to think, straws will never go away because people will always, you will be in a...
Go to McDonald's.
People will be in a... No, this is serious. People will be in a hospital, incapacitated, unable to drink, and they have to have a straw. People will have to have it. It will always... That technology will have to exist. And while people want a aluminum one or a reusable one, we know that for medical issues and sanitary issues, things sometimes have to be sealed, opened up, given. There it is. So I think the philosophy that Dr. O. Dongyap is saying is that this is the much larger thing than just straws, like our first episode was.
Right. Change of perspective.
Change the perspective. So if their lab can say, hey, you know how you're making all these paper things and you're coating them with plastic and it's still failing? We have figured out a way with this technology to make some things that if you need to use single use, you no longer have to use plastic and it will biodegrade. And it's a good thing. So I think, huzzah.
I don't think it's a bad thing.
No, I know. I'm not saying you said it was a bad thing, but you said your mind.
But you're saying he has to defend himself.
No, I said let him defend himself because you said, why are we wasting our time?
No, I didn't say why are we wasting our time.
You said, well, there's so many bigger problems to handle. Why are we focused on a straw? And then
I find it interesting that in the last 200 years, there's all these big problems that are going on. And for some reason, this particular thing, this particular issue, and it's just interesting to me that you've got this one thing, which is this straw deal, that really has captured the imagination of the world. That it's a thing. And so we've gone and we've solved this.
Yes.
We have solved this thing. And there's a million other things that could have also been solved.
But this solves other things.
I understand that over time, that's great. And I can sit here and try to defend a position I don't actually have. Where I could go into the fact that, you know what, but now we're just creating a lot of that stuff. And then what's that stuff going to be? And now we're still doing disposables and we're not reusing things and being more responsible with the stuff we have. There's 1,000 environmental arguments I can make about it that I don't actually believe or want to make.
Right.
That's not my point.
Right.
My point is, I find it interesting. I find it a little humorous that just because something hits a button causes this whatever in people, that it gets this amazing response and this amazing energy put towards it. And off it goes, and now it's like, wow, we fixed straws. And I just ask myself, how is it that we capable, amazing humans who exist on this earth, who can do so many of these things, how is it that we look at one thing that is actually kind of minor, which we coat, now we're going to coat all the plastic, we're going to make all the paper, the packaging, great.
Right.
But the impetus was, let's make a straw work. Right?
Yeah.
I just find it funny when you look at what we can do if we want to, what we can pull off if we decide that we're going to pull it off.
Right.
If we're like, we want to do this thing, we're going to go make this thing happen. This is important. Let's do it.
Right.
And then invariably we do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I just am chuckling a little bit at this whole, even how our show started with the point that I made. And I'm glad I'm not against our show.
Yeah.
I like our show.
He does like our show. Even though the evidence shows otherwise, he does enjoy the show.
Yeah. It's interesting that you've got a topic that was buzzy.
Yeah.
And so someone decided it's buzzy, we're going to go solve it. And then they solved it in only 200 years.
Right.
Just didn't take that long.
Well, to be fair, the point of the podcast, right, and this is something that we're going to talk about right now, is that we have summer nuggets, which is I've got to find something that I got one page that we can get in and out on. It's supposed to be 15 minutes, which we're well past now. So I can choose in the scientific data, last 2 weeks ago, before the hurricane devastated our city, I chose grilling.
Right.
And that's not a major issue or anything at all. It was just a show to help people know, what the options are, what the availability is. So we're there to just kind of educate them on a subject. So I came in last week with glue, which wasn't saying, hey, pilots, get rid of your glue. It was saying, hey, where are we with the state of glue? And how does it impact the environment and where are we going?
Yeah.
And then the same thing here was okay, after the initial conversation we had 200 years ago, where are we at with straws for people that are still not able to give it up? People who aren't able to give it up. Because if we say, hey, I need you to give the straw, and they go, I'm in a wheelchair. I need a straw. I need a freaking straw. I'm going to, wherever I go, I need to have the access to that. Then I was like, well, I think it's worthy of acknowledging it and just saying this is where the technology is, but I hear you loud and clear.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Yes,
I'm
I
not
do.
attacking the topic.
No. You just said I don't understand why we focused on it, and I just was saying.
No.
Okay.
Start over.
Okay.
Start over.
Okay.
I'm starting over.
Okay.
I love the topic.
Okay.
I love the topic. I love focusing on it. I love the heroin spoons and the straw. I love this topic.
Okay.
Talking about coming back to straws was a brilliant call.
Okay.
I'm
Cool.
glad we're here.
Okay, great.
I'm glad we're talking about it.
Okay.
I'm 100% in on this topic.
Okay.
I'm so in on this topic that I'm still talking about this topic.
Yes.
I love this topic. No,
Okay.
you choosing to do straws was mwah.
Right.
Masterpiece.
Okay.
I'm happy to be talking about straws.
Okay.
I'm happy that straws have. I'm even happy that they have straws at work because I like using straws personally. I'm not. That's No, it's not. It's not about that. The topic is on point.
Okay.
This is a great. It's a great show. We're probably gonna listen to the show and be like, "This is hilarious. These guys are,
it's amazing.
These guys
It's
are
amazing.
losing their minds over straws."
Right.
It's great. So no, I am not saying why are we talking about straws.
Yeah.
At all. I'm glad we're talking about straws.
Okay.
And I'm not even saying we shouldn't have fixed straws.
Yeah.
I'm actually glad we fixed straws.
Yeah.
That's not. None of that is at all the point I'm making. So I'm sorry if I wasn't clear on it. What I'm saying is, the capacity of humans to solve problems is incredible.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yes.
When you take something that's important to someone who decides this is important. In this case, Dr. O.
I don't remember. Dianga. Yeah.
Decides, no, man, I'm fixing this.
Yeah.
That it was done.
Yeah.
That to me is is just the pinnacle of humanity. And I in just that one thing, I'm actually for. It's not that I'm complaining about that really at all. I just think it's really it's funny that you don't know what the thing is that's going to get people to push themselves to the point that they're going to decide I have to fix this.
Yeah.
And I think at all the different kinds of things that are out there that could be fixed and that probably need to be fixed and that might have a more immediate high-speed impact.
Right.
Maybe don't get looked at right away because there's something else stopping it or some reason that they don't want to look at it or some reason they don't think it's important. And so then it doesn't get solved until later.
Right.
Or doesn't get the priority. I find it funny that something like this, which again, it was the first topic we covered because even we were like, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's a small thing.
Yeah.
And so I just think it's funny that people can do so much and yet they don't always. And that's it. And it's not to do with. I love the topic.
It's okay.
I love the straws. I love other. That was it. That was all I'm trying to.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I think it's a perspective I don't have. Okay. I don't have the same perspective, but I think that's a fair perspective to have.
What's yours before we go?
That there's a million different fields of study, and that scientists are working on probably every subject that's out there from nuclear fusion to, how we regenerate agriculture and farming. And so for me, every week searching for a story or something to cover, if you find...
It isn't about what you're covering.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying what these guys are covering. I'm saying for whatever reason, their field of study, these scientists, it landed perfectly because of their knowledge of cellulose and paper and what they were tasked to do to figure out is that I think it's, okay, there's a specific field of study for this one thing, and there's actually a specific field of study and research for everything. There's probably, cables and tripods. There's like the researchers and the know-how and the minds out there are chasing every subject. And so when I saw this, I was like, cool, that's cool that a group of scientists are focused on straws. So I just thought it was cool that they were focused on that. And I
agree with that.
Yeah, okay, cool. So I didn't look at it like of all the things that we can put our energy towards, because the closing part of the sentence was, and sometimes we don't. And I was like, I wasn't looking at the lack of something in the presence of something. Like the existence of scientists working on straws means that people aren't working on other things. So that's what I mean by I don't have that perspective. You know what I mean? That POV of like this one means that a scientist isn't in the room for this one. That's what I meant.
Right. I think I'm just looking at what has been solved.
From week to week, we try to show.
I know we do. I know we do.
Yeah.
But what has been solved and what got the focus.
Yeah.
I just find it fascinating.
Yeah, it is. It is. And why is the money behind certain things and not others?
Yeah, and who knows if it even was. I think in this case it might have just been interest.
Yeah, might have just been interest.
Somebody, like you said, he had the right background, the right history, and then looked at this and was like, "I'm gonna solve this.
I can solve this.
And
we can fix this." And then did it,
which is spectacular.
Yes, and
I think that the power of humans to do that is there.
Yes.
And I look forward to what we do next.
Yes.
I just find this one humorous.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are more up to speed, and everybody who watches the show knows that Noel follows the news. He follows the stories, and he pays attention to what is accomplished and what is not accomplished. Mm-hmm. You have your hand on that radar. Mm-hmm. I only, for the sake of the show, pay attention to what is accomplished. So I come in as
what's in the news, what's important, what do people got to know about, what do we have to learn about, what do we have to teach them?
Totally. So it's like I come in only with the perspective of we are working towards a goal, and there are people that are doing their best in each capacity. But because of your knowledge and your intellect and your understanding of what's out there, your superior intellect, because you are smart people tend to watch and read and see about the failure and see the mistake and see the mind to develop the battery for the electric car and see how it's grating on the environment. And they have this disparity of like, but we're messing up. We're focusing on straws when you could be fixing this major problem that's killing people. So you have that knowledge in the back of your mind when we talk about straws. You go like, people are dying because of this, and there's no funding and no research because of this, and we're talking about straws, so I get where you're coming from. I just don't have the same mind. I don't have the same brain.
Thank you, first of all. That was very nice of you to say that.
Superior intellect.
Give me the El Guapo. That was very
you
hilarious.
are very bright.
But thank you.
Yeah.
I'm all right. I don't know. But,
he's a smart guy.
But I think that there's enough to do both.
Sure. But that's often why I'm lost.
Yeah.
I think that's
the thing. I think I don't want to stop that at all. I'm glad it happened. I am. I made it sound maybe like I'm not glad. No, I'm glad. I'm glad it happened.
Yeah.
I'm just laughing. I'm planning something funny because I think there's enough people, enough dollars, enough research, enough energy that you could do both.
Yeah, sure.
And there's 1,000 things also that get in the way of other. Right, there's commercial interest, there's industrial interest, there's political interest, there's all sorts of different things that get in the way of solving other problems that make it harder. Whereas nobody cares, probably in the big picture about whether or not you fix a straw, and therefore you can do it.
Right.
But I also find
nobody's paying attention.
I also find that kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
Like that's part of the equation. I find that part of it also fascinating. It's like how is it that the world works this way?
Yeah.
And maybe that, and I don't always look at the what hasn't been accomplished and disdain for the negative. I mean, there's like
no, I'm not saying disdain. I'm just saying the knowledge. I'm saying the sheer knowledge of it.
Despair for the negative.
Yeah, the knowledge of it. The having that in the back of your head would alter the way that you look at anything. Like if I'm walking in front of a room of third graders as a teacher who is trying to teach about the applications of science. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to focus on the things that I'm going to be able to get and pass along to these third graders that work in science.
Yeah.
But if you worked in the field of science, and you were like a scientist for 20 years, and there was somebody who was like, we're developing a hydrogen car and it's going to power everything, and we're sharing this information. You couldn't help but be like, this has a myriad of problems that we need to talk about. We need to discuss like why this isn't the end all be all. And that's important in the environmental conversation. You have to have that. That's why it's a podcast, right? It's a discussion. Yeah. But a lot of times, and I think this is the yin and the yang of the show and why we are where we are here, is that I don't have I don't spend my free time looking at what is not working as much as I am looking at what's working, because that's the job that's the service that I provide on the show, is to like what's working. And so then you look at it and you go, that's working, but these are some variations. And oftentimes we find ourselves kind of going like, I'm like, oh, it's not good. And you're like, no, I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying that we have other things to do.
Also, remember that in Three Amigos, that Jefe is probably smarter than El Guapo.
Well, I don't know.
You look at the way that he handles El Guapo with everything. I mean, he's kind of keeping the whole thing together.
Yeah, but
so all I'm saying that I'm making the point, because you shouldn't underrate yourself. First of all, you're a bright kid. You're a bright kid. I think you got a future.
Thanks.
And also that I mean, your job is, like, to give the third grade example, is not to have a conversation about nuclear fusion necessarily. That's really that's not the job when you're in the room full of third graders.
Right.
Like, you can, but it's much more interesting to talk about straws.
Yeah.
It's much more relatable to talk about straws.
Yeah.
The reason we started the podcast with straws was because we had to relate to people in their home, in what they're doing. The reason last week you talk about glue is because you have to relate to people in their home.
Yeah, yeah.
You're great at that.
Well,
you're great at that. You are great at finding things that work. You are great at finding the topics that are interesting. And I think this is completely one of them. Yeah. Completely worthy and far more relatable than the million things that would be a boring poo fest. If I brought them here.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. So we are showing the audience we're bearing raw and unadulterated podcast, even though it's supposed to be a summer nugget, and it is not anymore.
It isn't? We passed summer nugget?
No. We're trucking. So, but it was important to show that I think that if you see misunderstandings between Noel and I happen on this show, it has the tendency, because we approach data differently. We just approach it differently. We really, really do. And he has been one of my best friends in the entire world for almost 20 years. We just look at data differently. And he comes in with a lot more. We tease him on the show about literally bring up everything, and he knows a little bit of something about everything. He's one of those people that likes to know. And when he learns a fact, he goes in deeper and deeper and deeper. I am John Q. Public. I'm like, cool. Because I'm the kind of person that I look at a piece of information. I'm not compelled. I'm not interested in finding out what's really at play, what's at work. It doesn't mean I'm not smart. It's just I don't really care. I want to know the thing is working, and that the scientists and people are going to tell me things are going to work out and it's going to be okay. And when it really impacts me in my life, I start going, well, maybe I need to learn a little bit more about it. But if it doesn't really impact my life that much, I'm like, great, hey, awesome, straws are fixed. So I'm letting them know that we just look at things differently. And so every now and then, when subjects come up, it may feel like we're arguing, but we are not. We're just looking at the data differently.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
We're not arguing. He's just going.
Don't worry, kids.
We're not fighting. Dad and Dad are not fighting.
We're fine. We're going to make it through. We're fine. We still love each other very much.
We do. And so the truth is, it was just as simple as I didn't know what he was referring to, and he was confused that I didn't understand what he was saying. And I was like, and then when I finally got it, I was like, okay, I got it. You think it's interesting. Yeah. You think it's fascinating because you have all this other wherewithal and knowledge about what's going on in this sector that we could be applying the efforts to. And I'm like, yeah, it's a fair point.
Yeah, if I find the topic interesting and go into if I go into a rabbit hole like that, usually it's because I love what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Not the opposite.
Yeah. And for me, the only reason I start to get confused is again, it's that perspective that I go like, I don't understand. I'm confused by this. And you could even see when I was saying things back here, like, that's not what I was saying. And I was like, to a person who doesn't know where you're coming from, it did. To me, it sounded like that's what you were saying. But then I had to catch up. I had to learn. Because what you were initially saying, I was like, oh, he doesn't think this is a good idea. That we shouldn't be doing that. But that's not what you were saying. But it did initially. I had to learn. I had to figure it out. I was like, oh, okay, he's not saying that.
Yeah.
Lesson for everybody.
You boys are beautiful.
Veronica's just been,
You boys are beautiful.
she's been twitching over there just watching us go through this whole thing. So anyway, that was the show. We should wrap it up there. That was not a nugget. We're not going to call it a nugget because that was a full episode.
Well, that's nice. They got a full episode.
They got
out
a
of the
full
deal.
episode. So you thought you were going to get 2 nuggets.
Huh?
You're getting 1 and then a full episode.
Right.
Yes.
Bring in the thunder.
Bring in the thunder. So anyway,
It's been nice knowing you. I hope I hope you do well.
I was letting them see that the 2 sides are friends and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong.
I think they knew that all along. I do. I think they knew it all along.
You think so?
Yeah,
Okay,
we've done this
good.
before.
No, we
Yeah.
edited out of one.
What?
We edited out.
Well, don't edit this one.
I'm not going to edit this one out.
Yeah.
No.
It's all about POV.
It's all about POV. It's all about
POV.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, you guys, that's it. Thank you for tuning into a full-fledged, just the most massive return to our full-size episode. So thank you. We can't do the show without you, so please share, tell people, comment, like, subscribe. Do all the things that you do behind your phone, behind your laptop, wherever you're getting your internet. If you're doing one of those Apple Visions, oh, no, those aren't out yet. But however you're consuming us. If you're watching us in VR, I want to know how that is.
Yeah, on the
Metaverse.
Yeah.
I hope people watch us one day in VR. I think that would be cool. So with that being said, we are your beacon of light in a gloomy environment.
Bringing you top quality content since 1823.
With straws.
Straws since the beginning. From the beginning until today, we're going to keep you up to speed on what's happening with straws so that you know.
Your only resource for straws. Science.
Doing 2 straw podcasts in 200 years is not an over. We're not overdoing it.
We're not overdoing
We
it.
are not
We
overdoing
really
it.
hadn't revisited the subject in a long time. Science without the stiffness.
Green without the groaning.
Inspiring fear and love.
This show's about patience.
Oh, careful, you'll catch feelings. I almost did the wrong one.
Corndog Rogers and Kerosene Guy have had a lifelong battle in my head.
Second time, and it's back to back. Breaking records. Mine is, I just had it. Oh, we'll turn it, on this show, we'll turn your enemies into friends.
We did it all for the hooey. What? The hooey. What? So he could try our chewy.
So you can get some chewy. And with that, Veronica says...
Happy nuggets?
It wasn't a nugget.
It was,
so,
oh.
no, I'm just
No.
kidding. You can say
But that
it.
she
So
says it.
happy long nuggets. And
They're like strips.
Yes.
yeah, and stop and smell the flowers.
Bye. See you next time.
Later.
It's the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.